Hello everyone, I'm going to be breaking down the Week 2 NFL main slate on Draftkings, but this is definitely going to be applicable to FanDuel, Yahoo as well, just because the prices are pretty similar across the sites. So with our first breakdown of the season on this channel, I'm going to be going game by game, so I'm just going to try out this method, starting off with the 49ers against the Eagles here. So for the 49ers side, I'm going to be breaking down basically three key positions. So at running back with Mostert out for the season now, Eli Mitchell became pretty much the popular pick for season-long leagues, and I think that in this matchup at 5K, he's still going to be a very good option, although Trey Sermon likely to be active now, and Kyle Shanahan basically runs he puts in multiple running backs every game, and with this game, now they have a lot more time to plan. With almost there, they could probably lean on other guys as opposed to just giving Mitchell. I think got like 19 carries in week 1. Yep, 104, no passing game work. So the Eagles, they are a tougher matchup compared to the Lions in week 1. And just with Sermon, Hasty getting work, Mitchell can definitely fail. But if he's not really chalky, then definitely I'm going to take some of him. But he is going to be pretty much reliant on a 100-yard bonus and also TD bonus. So not really looking like the best option because there are some really good other options at 6K plus. Now with receiver, Deebo Samuel had a great game last time, basically broke the slate, but this time, again, just a tougher matchup. And also, if I don't want to take away the long 79-yard pass from him, but that easily could have been just, a long pass and that's it. He got a lot of yards after catch that one, but those 12 targets, 9 receptions, very good. But also, I do not want to chase. Every guy, especially Deebo Samuel, who can definitely be a stud, for a receiver to get crazy fantasy output like that, I just don't want to go back to him. And Brandon Ayuk, 5,500. This guy has similar upside, but he did have a hamstring injury, so he's working his way back. Probably going to be getting more snaps. He did get, I think, 47% of the snaps week 1, so he should be getting more. And also about Deebo, probably going to be favoring Kittle most likely because Deebo's going to get some Darius Slay shadow. Darius Slay, although not elite as he once was, still definitely a good corner. And then now for tight end, I like George Kittle the most out of all these guys because he is 6,400, which is very affordable for the top 3 tight end in the league right now. And then also, you do not have Travis Kelce, who was playing on the Sunday night game. So you take away Kelce, it just makes all the other tight ends much more appealing, especially with the pay-up options in Kittle and of course Waller. But Kittle is in a much better matchup, and I think he's going to get more, or he's going to get fed more in this matchup. He's only got 5 targets last game, and maybe they pass more in this one. I just like Kittle a lot more this week compared to last. Now the Philly side, going to be looking at running back, Miles Sanders 6,900. The 49ers are a very good defense, but they do have some injuries. They lost Jason Verrett last week, and they just aren't really maybe the best defense that we thought they could be. Now, it's only been 1 week, so no need to panic, but Miles Sanders is going to be at home. He does get pass game work. He's 66% a snap share last week, and he's not favored, but he's at home, so he definitely get there. He does have a big playability. Now, with the receivers, Devonta Smith, Jalen Reagor, they're affordable. Devontae and Reagor basically had very good weeks in week 1, but that was against the Falcons. This does set up as a positive game script for both of them, so definitely Reagor at that price, but Devonta does look like to be the clear number 1 here in this offense. And then with the tight end situation in Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz, Goddard looked like to be one of the better tight ends, but Zach Ertz still in Philly. It's kind of just, an annoying situation where this guy in Ertz is playing 58% of the snaps in week 1. Goddard got 73, and they're going to utilize a lot of 2 tight end sets. However, Ertz actually got 15 routes compared to 14 for Goddard, so we know it's going to look like. I still would prefer Goddard over Ertz because he looks like to be the guy that the Eagles do want to lead this tight end set. But again, just not really appealing because they're both just involved in it. Now on to the next game, Denver at Jacksonville. Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams both got a lot of carries in week 1, and it seems like it's going to be kind of a 50-50 split, so that's going to be annoying, but Melvin did get that huge run. Now the Jaguars, they are not a good defense. Denver is favored, but they're away, so still I like both of them, but I just don't think I'm going to get a lot to them, maybe, under 10% if I do get to them, just because, again, other guys I'm going to get to later on in the video. And then for the receivers, Cortland Sutton, now without Jerry Jeudy, looks like to be the clear number one. Although Noah Fant, he's a very viable option this week on DK with his price at 4,200, getting a lot of targets. But Sutton did look like he had a limp in practice this week, so that's something to monitor. Pretty concerning, but Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler would step up in that case. They both got, they already had some pretty good snap shares in week one. So for value, I do think they can make for some interesting picks against this Jaguars defense, which they're just not really that good. Now for tight end again, Noah Fant, 4,200 Jacksonville. He's too cheap. He should be priced higher, but I mean his price did not go up. It actually came down $100. This is going to be a much easier matchup, although maybe it's going to be a little bit negative for a game script. Probably going to be running more, but still, the first 3 quarters probably can still fill it up. So I like Font. And then for the Jaguars side, this is a tough matchup with a rookie QB. Just although Trevor Lawrence did have to throw a lot against the Texans, somehow they were actually chasing. And James Robinson did not really get a lot of the carries. He got 0 touches in the first quarter, which is crazy. Carlos Hyde was somehow just very involved, and then you just combine it with a tough matchup. I just don't like this run game situation. And then for the receivers, you're basically going to be relying on volume to overcome the efficiency concerns, because these guys are not going to be as cheap as they were, and it is going to be a tougher matchup. If I had to rank these guys, I would say Marvin Jones, because he's not as affordable. He got a garbage time touchdown last week, so I probably would prefer to just go to Chark here. Darby, Fuller, Callahan, they're all very good corners, so this is going to be a tough matchup for all 3 of these guys. For tight ends, though, Shaughnessy, 2,700, same thing, dealing with the tough Broncos pass rush, but he did see a lot of targets in week 1, 8 targets, and he's only 2,700. Positive game script for him, so I think he could make for a value option. Now, Buffalo against Miami. So Zach Moss is supposed to be active for this game, and that's going to just make Singletary not as appealing. This game, though, it is supposed to be a very fast-paced game, so that should help the total. The Bills are 3rd fastest pace, Dolphins 5th, at least in week 1. And then Singletary, he got 75% of the snaps. He had 5 targets on 20 routes run in week 1. So now with Zach Moss projected to be active now, those numbers are probably going to go down. The Dolphins do struggle guarding the rush. They're a better pass defense, so maybe it sets up better for the Bills here with Singletary and Moss. But the Bills do like to throw first, but they could definitely target the weakness here, which is the run game or the run defense. And this is a 48 total, so you've got a high-powered offense in the Bills, which it's just a tough defense again in the Dolphins. But the slot corner in Nick Needham is the weakest guy to target. So if I had to pick a Bills receiver, I'm gonna go with Cole Beasley. Stephon Diggs at 7,700. I'm never gonna say you fade a stud. That's just how football works. Usually, the good offenses will win out, but there's a lot of other receivers that have better matchups, so I'm gonna have to prioritize them over Diggs. But as a cheap guy, 4,600 with Cole Beasley and Josh Allen, just a great offense here. This is the weakness. If the Bills like to target weaknesses, then they're going to find Cole Beasley in this game. So I think it's a very excellent option. I'm going to actually like him the best out of these guys. Emmanuel Sanders, he's kind of the bigger play guy, especially Diggs too, but Sanders, more affordable, but also he's got a tougher matchup. And then looking at the tight ends, we're going to probably see basically Dawson Knox getting all the carries, or all the playing time, but they're just not really targeting the tight ends. Maybe he gets like a touchdown target, but you're really reliant on the TD. And then also on the receivers, all 3 of these guys played 90% plus the snaps, although that was against Pittsburgh, which that was a very close game throughout, so it's going to depend on how this game goes. Now for the Dolphins, this run game situation is pretty much just a mess. Like Gaskin was supposed to be the workhorse, but he's really not. He only got 54%. It's again a tough matchup in the Bills. And then for the receivers, Will Fuller's still going to be out, so it's going to hurt this offense just because you don't have that field stretcher. Devontae Parker, 5,500, is going to be up against Tre'Davious White, one of the best corners in the league, so that's definitely very troubling. Jalen Waddle, though, in the slot, 4,500. It seems like that this is going to be kind of a chalky receiver here, especially because he had a good game in week one. The Bills, their weak spot is also in the corner. So Waddle looks like he's still going to get a lot of carries, a lot of targets rather, routes run without Fuller, and probably going to be chasing, so that's going to help Waddle. And then tight end Mike Gesicki, 39% of the targets, or the snaps rather, in week one. That's just not good for someone who was without Fuller, going to be without Fuller again. If he couldn't get the work then I'm really, it's not looking too good for Gesicki here. And then now on to Houston and Cleveland. Houston, they're not supposed to be a good team, but somehow they're 1-0. This running situation, same thing, it is just a mess. They are playing 4 running backs. Mark Ingram not really getting the rushing or the receiving work. Same thing with all these guys. They're just not really an offensive on the target, especially against the Browns. Brandon Cooks is a stud, 5,900. But again, this is a tougher matchup in the Browns than the Jaguars. And then this is a very low total. They actually have the lowest total of the week in the Texans. And Anthony Miller, he is going to be returning, so this could be definitely a concern for Nico Collins, Amendola, Chris Conley, and then the matchup again. So this is definitely just not going to be a good point, a good team to target. Now for tight ends, Darren Fells did leave this team. Jordan Akins, hopefully he was going to become the number one, but he's just not. He basically did not do much. He actually got 0, and he's not the lead tight end. So Texans again, not a team that I'm going to be on. Now the Browns here, Nick Chubb going to be one of the better options. Probably going to be my favorite spend up, 7,800. Just being a home favorite. Nick Chubb is a stud. The Texans allow a lot of big plays. Chubb, he actually got some receptions too. Probably not going to get them this week because they're going to be up most likely. But Chubb, 7,800, it's very affordable. Even Kareem Hunt could have a good game. Both of them are going to be good options, but I'll favor Chubb. Now for the receivers, without Odell, it was weird because I thought that Donovan Peoples-Jones was going to be a lot better than he was, but he didn't play 80% of snaps. He just wasn't getting the targets. He only got 1 target, which was insane to me. Anthony Schwartz got 53% of the snaps. He could be a value play, although coming off of a pretty good game for 3K, he was on week 1. Probably not going to go there, especially because this is a run-first offense in a probably a run-heavy game script here. So my target is going to be on Chubb. And then for tight ends, Austin Hooper. The coach has talked about how this guy's going to be a lot more involved, but he really was in like the first quarter, and then he just disappeared after a few catches in the first. So, I want to play this guy. I like Hooper, but in this matchup where they're probably not going to pass a lot, Baker Mayfield probably going to pass like 20 attempts, just not really favorable for the Browns passing game attack. And Njoku actually was the guy that led the tight end situation here, so I'd rather just go cheaper or pay up. Now going on to Cincy and Chicago. I did not like Joe Mixon week 1, partly because of the Vikings supposedly improved defense, which obviously was not the case. And they just got overtime. They got a lot of positive things for Mixon. It worked his way. The Vikings were chasing, so Mixon ended up getting 30 plus touches, which is insane, and he got the 100-yard bonus kind of touchdown. So, that was wrong for week 1. Now, with the Bears, they're supposed to be a weak pass defense, so I'm going to favor the passing game here. Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, really like him, and then, of course, T. Higgins. So, Mixon 7K against the Bears, I want to target the passing game because they do look like they're going to have a lot of struggles this time in week 1 because of how the Rams were able to tear them apart. The Bengals could be more run heavy, but they are a dog this week against the Bears, so I think they're probably going to have to pass more. Now, I'm going to favor Boyd just because the matchup, he definitely has a better one, and he was the cheaper one and was the worst one out of these 3 guys. So Tyler Boyd, been in the league longer. I just favor Boyd. I think he's way too cheap, 4,700. He was like a 6K guy last year, so this is too cheap. He's probably not going to get a lot of ownership. He's going to be one of my favorite guys, similar to Cole Beasley. I favor Boyd though. And then for tight ends, they're really not using any of these guys, so nothing to talk about here. Now for the Bears, David Montgomery is a stud. Hopefully they will use Justin Fields. It's just going to open up the offense a lot more. But Montgomery, 6,100. You look at what he did in week 1 against the Rams. No targets, but he was just so efficient. And we talk about the Rams being a very good defense. They are, but for some reason the Rams actually have been bad against running backs in the past few weeks. Montgomery against the Bengals, not a defense that we're going to fear, so I really like Montgomery. And now with Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney. So Mooney is currently questionable, but he did get full practices, so I expect him to be at full go. And I'm going to like Mooney. I'm going to like A-Rob because it seems like a lot of people are going to be on other receivers. Like if you take a look at the 6K range, you got the Dallas Chargers game. That's going to be very high scoring, probably. People are going to like that. And there's Mike Evans, just Cooper Kupp. So I think Robinson could be actually pretty lower owned, and I'm going to like him because this is a great matchup. And even if they're going to be favorites at home, there's no one have to score. And Robinson is the clear number one guy here in the pass game. Now for tight ends, Cole Kmet, I do have some interest because he was by far the number one guy ahead of Jimmy Graham. 74% snaps, 24 routes run. So I like Kmet at 3,700. I'll probably go to him, then guys like Hooper that I mentioned on the Browns. And then with the next game, New England and the Jets. So Damian Harris looks like to be a stud. The Jets do have a good front seven though. New England, very good offensive line, so kind of balances out. Now, this is going to be a run first team, so I'm not going to like any of these receivers, although they are cheap. You can't just really say that they're all going to suck because this is the Jets and the Patriots, they will still throw. So, wouldn't be surprised if someone were to catch a touchdown, but it's also like when you compare it to the rest of the slate, there are 12 other games here. I just much rather go to other games, other guys. Now, tight ends, so Jonnu Smith is questionable. We're going to have to look at him. At least it was a limited practice on Friday. But this is going to be, again, a run first team, and that's going to include two tight end sets. So Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, both going to be involved, although they just kind of take away from each other. Now, if Jonnu were to miss, then Hunter Henry definitely makes for a lot of sense. So I'm going to definitely put him in my player pool if that is the case. But right now, they did play 73 and 72% respectively on their snaps in week 1. They both got a lot of targets, 19 for John and 23 for Henry. Now for the Jets side, so Jameson Crowder should be back for this one. He is questionable currently, but he definitely looks like he's going to be back for this one. Don't know if he's going to play full snaps, but that's going to take away from all these guys that played, especially Braxton Berrios, who usually is a slot receiver. Corey Davis probably going to take away some of his targets. Now New England, all these teams, looks pretty unappealing. Plays slow, not the best offenses, so not going to like pretty much anyone from this Jets side. I think Tyler Kroft, he's still cheap, 2,900. He was pretty much a value week 1, 66% snaps, 25 routes run. Looks maybe like the most likely guy we'll go to on the Jets, but again, just not really an appealing of a game. Now we're going to go on to the Rams here. So against the Colts, I think Darrell Henderson, 5,700, makes for a good low-end play. Good tournament play because they are a favorite. They are on the road, but I think because the Colts, they definitely they have some struggles on the offensive end. The Rams look like a very talented offense that Henderson just looks to be really good. He does not get passing game work, but Sony Michel also does not do that. And because there isn't a clear, like a pass game running back here, pass catcher, I think that Henderson definitely is going to be just a clear number one still. He did get pretty much like, I think it was near 95% of the snaps in week 1. Michel got like 5, so it's Henderson's backfield right now. And then with the receivers, so Cooper Kupp is operating more on the outside now compared to the slot in his early on in his career. But still, I'm gonna like Kupp here because he's someone who is very good after the catch in zone D. This is someone just like Tyler Lockett, Keenan Allen. The way that they play receiver, it sets up really well for Kupp here. Although this is gonna be probably very chalky, so I'm gonna definitely try to pivot off of Kupp. Although I like Kupp, but it's just the ownership, and maybe I go to Robert Woods more. Also, just take Darrell Henderson. So just trying to get different though. If Kupp's ownership is too high, go with a guy like Mike Williams. I know it's weird seeing Mike Williams is more expensive than Cooper Kupp, but it's fantasy. It's only one game, so anything can happen. Now Van Jefferson, he's a clear number 3 guy. He played a lot of snaps in week 1, but he didn't get a long touchdown in the matchup against the Bears, so could definitely not be more like a trap here, especially because it is a zone D. It's going to allow a lot less deep throws. Now for the Titan situation, I'm going to really like Tyler Higbee. Maybe this is a route that I'd be different from Cup. He played 100% of snaps in week 1. Without Gerald Everett on his team, this is Tyler Higbee's tight end spot to lose. And Indy, though it's not an easy matchup for tight ends, but I'd rather just trust the talent of Stafford and Higbee here. Now onto the Colts. So again, I mentioned the Rams run defense, a little bit suspect. So Jonathan Taylor, 7,200. He got 8 targets in week 1. Very encouraging, 6 receptions. For whatever reason, again, the Rams not really good against running backs recently. Naheem Hines, though, is very involved, and they could be chasing, so that could definitely favor Hines here. But, if Taylor, if he gets started off the game hot, he can get, he is playing at home, maybe they'll Colts lead this game. Then Jonathan Taylor is going to be a very good option. He's going to be very low on. Now, with the receivers, again, this is also just another run-first team. So, without T.Y. Hilton right now, Michael Pittman is number 1, but Jalen Ramsey, the Rams have a lot of good corners here, and I would just rather not go with any of these Colts pass catchers. Although I know Pascal, Campbell, they've been playing snaps, they do get targets, but they're just really not high upside guys. Pittman can be, but not a matchup I want to go to. And then tight ends, Jack Doyle, Mo Alley-Cox, they basically just block a lot. They don't catch a lot of passes, so they're TD dependent. Now onto the Raiders, running backs. I don't really like to target against the Steelers because they're very solid, but Josh Jacobs is out. Kenyon Drake, he's probably going to get more ownership because of that, but the coach did say that John Vernon said Peyton Barber is going to be pretty much the lead back now, at least early down work. Kenyon Drake, more pass games, so I still expect Kenyon Drake to get a lot of a big bump because they should be chasing, so it's going to favor Drake, but that's not really good because probably going to still have to get a lot of his work from his reception. So maybe we see another game like 6 rush attempts. That's just not going to be that great at 4,900 in a tough matchup. Now, maybe they do try to pass the ball more than in that case. And this was a Monday Night Football game, so everyone saw Darren Waller, 19 targets. Ridiculous, 7,600. There's no Kelsey again, so 7,600 is just going to be the lead tight end on the slate. And I'm going to like it because he's going to just have the highest upside, probably. Kittle, yes, he's going to run first, though. So it's going to be in terms of talent, Waller and Kittle leading this spot in this position. But, yeah, Waller, just a crazy amount of targets. There's no volume concerns for him compared to you have with Kittle. So Waller makes sense for a tight end. You should have at least some shares on him, even though it is a tough matchup. And then for the Steelers side, Najee Harris projected to be probably the chalkiest running back, chalkiest player, most likely, on the slate. And for good reason. He played 100% of snaps week 1. I don't expect that to continue, but I mean, how can you not play this guy when he's 1,600 and he looks like to be basically the guy that's not going to come off the field? And they did lead later on in that game, so they didn't really have to throw him the ball. But I expect them to get probably more receptions, even though they do have a lot of mouths to feed on this offense. And the Bills, they are a very tough defense. The Raiders, a lot looser. They're giving up a lot of big runs to the Ravens on Monday, so I like Najee Harris, same price, being a home favorite a lot. Now with the receivers, again, same thing. For tournaments, you want to pivot off of the chalk guys. So if the running back in Najee is going to be chalk, then you play Deontay Johnson, Juju, and Claypool. Deontay is a PPR monster, just gets a lot of receptions. Claypool is more of the end zone threat out of these guys, he's a big body. He also gets some jet sweeps, rush attempts in the goal line. So I think Claypool makes sense, but Juju Smith-Schuster actually does have a very good matchup here against the Raiders. Against a slot receiver, it sets up really well for Juju. But again, all 3 of these guys should be in play. And then you're looking at the tight end position, which is basically a split right now. Ebron, full participant, so that questionable tag is going to be removed. And that's just going to be basically a split again. So not going to be on these guys, although they could catch a tight end or catch a touchdown, but very dependent on that. And then on to New Orleans. So Alvin Kamara at 8,800. This is going to be still the main guy here without Michael Thomas, but tougher matchup than week 1 probably. Kamara, play him. This is a stud. He actually got a lot of rush attempts compared to what he usually does, which is usually the teens, mid-15s area. But positive game script, that probably helped, and he probably will get more targets than in that case. So I like Kamara, 8,800. How can you not? So, yeah, top option for the Saints. Now, Marcus Callaway, 4,200. I think it's very interesting because people got burned by him. He only caught one ball, but you can't really blame him because the Packers were just not keeping up in that game, and he's still very cheap. So he got number one clear guy in this offense for the receivers, and of course Kamara, but just for the receiver option or position listed here on DK. He is going to be cheap at 4,200. He's going to be low owned. They probably do have to throw more, and he's got a very good matchup against Justin Burris. So Callaway 4,200. This could be finally the spot. This is what's called flop lag, where the chalk guy now becomes not chalk, and he's going to go off. So I'm going to have some interest in Callaway. I'll definitely be over the field. And then for the tight end position, the Panthers are very tight end friendly, and Adam Trotman without Michael Thomas could definitely get more targets. His snaps definitely are very appealing, but again, he's going to be behind in the pecking order of Kamara and then Callaway. So there's some concerns about volume. And then onto the Panthers side, CMC under 10K. He basically threatened for both of the bonuses, and if you are new, this guy is a stud. You basically play him in cash every single week, no matter what the matchup is. Now he's under 10K, so I'm going to continue to do it. I mean, no touchdowns, and he almost got 30 DK points. If he gets a touchdown, he gets a bonus. Like, look at that. He's going to be on his way to 40 points. So I love CMC here. Gonna like him pretty much every week though. Now for the receivers, I need to talk about Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore because for some reason in week one, Robbie Anderson acted as more of the field stretcher against the Jets. Maybe that's because CMC is back now and he was out for a lot last season, but we need to look into that. But if that's the case, then DJ Moore is going to be more of the short intermediate guy, and that's just going to mean he's going to be a higher floor guy. And then Robbie Anderson is more boom or bust. So we need to make sure, keep an eye on that for week two. Now, tight ends are not going to play it. They basically just block. They do not throw short. They're throwing the CMC if it's short. Now, on to the afternoon games. These four are very good, very appealing, high total games. So, Dalvin Cook, 9,100. Against Arizona, on the road, it's a dog. I'm never going to say no to Dalvin Cook. These stud running backs are always going to be in play because you never know. Maybe they actually are ahead and then they just get more work, or they get pass game work, break off for a long reception. So you never know. I'm going to always play these guys. Now for the receivers, Adam Thielen coming up with a big game. I prefer Justin Jefferson now because they're just so cheap in price, or so close in price rather. And Jefferson also has the better matchup. He's probably going to be actually guarded by forgot what his name is, but the Cardinals, they were able to shut down the Titans somehow, but these corners, they do not really. Let me check actually. Gotta get this name right for you guys. So Marco Wilson, this guy does not grade out to be a good corner. Again, the Cardinals, for the same reason we like Julio Jones and AJ Brown in week one, they're just short. They're not fast either. So for a guy that's a stud like Justin Jefferson, I'm just gonna like him. And he didn't have a good week, and they should be chasing, so that's gonna be very good for Justin Jefferson. And then KJ Osborne, they were chasing again, so that's why he got 81%, 46 rounds run, but they probably are going to be chasing again, so why not? It's still going to be a shootout, although there are too many mouths to feed, so maybe he could be kind of a chum value, but I don't think he's going to be too shocking. So I'd have some shares of him, maybe like a double stack with Kirk Cousins. And then for the tight end position, we like to target the Cardinals in tight ends, but Tyler Conklin, 3,200. He played a lot of snaps in week one, got 71%. He could be a cheap value play, but again, Justin Jefferson, Thielen, Cook, just going to be taking more of the touchdowns. Now, Arizona, Kyler Murray's a stud, Chase Edmonds, James Conner. This is going to be less of a split. This was only a split because of how this game was out of hand, and James Conner was basically just running every single snap. Now, in probably a closer game, I think Chase Edmonds is going to get a lot more touches, so it's probably going to be more like 65-35. And Edmonds is going to get more targets most likely than James Conner because Edmonds is just the better guy. And Everson Griffin is out, so same reason for Joe Mixon why I didn't like him, but he turned out to be great. This Vikings defense, again, not that great, I guess, and now they lose Everson Griffin, so it should be a better spot. They're also playing at home, good for running backs, favored. And this is Patrick Peterson time. So Pat P now in the Vikings. Probably going to be shadowing DeAndre Hopkins, but probably Pat Pete is washed, and he's not the same guy. DeAndre Hopkins is debatable, but he could be the #1 receiver in the league. So I'm going to like DeAndre Hopkins a lot. Christian Kirk, this could be a chase because he did catch 2 touchdowns in week 1. Rondale Moore could potentially get more snaps at the expense of Christian Kirk, but with Kirk having played that well, I don't think that's the case. Probably more likely he steals it from AJ Green and then one of them plays in the slot. But yeah, AJ Green, he kind of looked washed too. But maybe week 1, trying to develop chemistry. This is a good match against the Vikings. So wait and see. I probably wouldn't want to play AJ Green though at this stage of his career. Now tight ends, these guys did nothing, so no need to talk about them. And then now on the Falcons. So the Falcons here, they basically ruined everyone's lineup, I guess, with Kyle Pitts and Calvin Ridley. But they are going to be chasing probably. The Cowboys are a good offense, much better than the Falcons. But they were able to pretty much tear apart the Bucs defense. Mike Davis, not someone I'm going to be on just because running backs against Tampa, I don't like that. But Calvin Ridley is a stud. So if I'm not trying to say that, Ridley or Cooper is better, but Cooper was able to destroy the Bucs, and Calvin Ridley is the clear #1 here. Maybe the Falcons are able to bounce back, but it is definitely tough because the Falcons have a very bad O-line. Maybe that helps Russell Gage then because he is more of a slot receiver, shorter route guy, so that's definitely beneficial for a PPR format guy. And then for tight ends, so the Falcons ran a lot of 2 tight end sets with Kyle Pitts and Hayden Hurst, but Kyle Pitts basically lined up as a receiver whenever he was on the field. So I like Kyle Pitts a lot. Not going to be as high out just because he disappointed and he's also a lot more expensive. So it sets up as a good game script though for Pitts. And then on to the Bucs. So the running back situation. Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones, Gio Bernard, they're going to be home favorites here. Going to be better for Fournette and Jones. Rosarian said Jones is going to be a lead back, but who knows? Jones started last time and he fumbled and he played like 9% of the snaps. So we don't know, but I think one of these guys, Fournette or Jones, is going to have a big game. And I'm going to try to get exposure to both. Not too much because I don't want to get burned by Rosarians and all this running back shenanigans, but I'm not going to be on Gio Bernard because I don't think it's going to be a pass game script for him. Now for the receivers, these are just all studs. I would rather favor Mike Evans though because he's coming off of the down game, and if you have seen Mike Evans in his career, he usually bounces back. Atlanta, they're not a good defense. I think Tom Brady will try to make it a goal to just get Mike Evans more involved. So I like Evans more. Godwin probably second, and then Brown just because Godwin seems a lot more consistent out of all 3 of these guys. Now, tight end, I don't want to chase Rob Gronkowski's 2-touchdown, 8-for-8 game, although he definitely is getting a lot of snaps. So looks like it's Gronk's tight end position. Now, on to Dallas and the Chargers. So this game, very high total. And starting off with Zeke, he is very cheap at 6,200. If this is going to be a high total, which I think is going to be a high scoring game, then I think Ezekiel Elliott is going to do something. There's no Michael Gallup, which should help everyone else on this team in terms of just more volume. And the Chargers defense, they're not bad, they're pretty good, but this is an elite Cowboys offense, and this is a much better matchup against the Chargers than the Bucs. So I like Ezekiel Elliott, especially because Tony Pollard looks like to be everyone's favorite guy, and I just think that Zeke is still clearly #1 guy here in Dallas, and he should be a lot better in week 2. And then with the receivers, so I'm a favor of Amari Cooper over CeeDee Lamb because I think Cooper is just much better than Lamb, although Lamb has shown a lot of flashes of what he can be in the future. Probably going to be a stud, but $400 difference. So I'm going to prioritize Cooper then, just because the price is so similar. And then Cedric Wilson. So no Michael Gallup. Cedric Wilson looks like to be the guy who is going to step into Gallup's role, and probably going to be chasing, at least on the road though. So 3,100 going to be a very good value option. He played 41% with Gallup, so probably going to be going up in that case. And if you're fading Wilson as a value, maybe you go to Schultz or Blake Jarwin. Both of these guys, they can run 2 tight end sets, but we know Gallup helps them. And Schultz got 69% of the snaps, 20 routes run. Jarwin 58%, 22 routes. So both of them look like to be affordable guys. They are somewhat touchdown dependent, but maybe that Gallup's absence actually allows them to play more 2 tight end sets. Now on to the Chargers. So Austin Eckler. This guy got 0 targets, so 0 receptions in week 1. But the thing is, he actually got goal line work, and they're a home favorite running back coming off of a bad game in week 1. I don't think he's going to be loaned just because it's Austin Eckler, but I'm going to really like him here. Going to probably be one of my highest running backs next to guys like Chris Carson, Najee Harris, Chubb. But hey, 58% snaps. He never is a big snap count guy, but when he's on the field, he's going to do damage. So I like him. And then onto the receivers, Jalen Guyton. He actually played 65% of the snaps in week 2. So maybe they are going to run more 3 receiver sets. And Justin Herbert does like to spread the ball around. So Guyton could definitely connect on one. So I'm going to try to have a little bit of him. And then Keenan Allen will be my guy here. 7K just seems like to be in maybe the best spot receiver can have. And Mike Williams being so close, $900 difference, I'm going to favor Keenan, although Mike Williams has big time upside. But again, PPR format, I'm going to favor Keenan though. On to tight end. So Jared Cook looks like to be the clear one, although Donald Parham is playing 51% of the snaps. He's more blocking. He's only ran 10 rounds. Cook ran 28. So if I had to go with someone, Jared Cook, because of the matchup though, I will actually take Cook because although I said no to some of the other guys in the 3K range, Cook, his volume looks like to be pretty good. Got 8 targets in week 1, and it's also against the Cowboys. So fantasy carnival time, Cook looks like to be appealing. Now on to the last game. I'm gonna try to go through this as fast as possible. So Derrick Henry, 8,300 against the Seahawks. They are a good run defense, but Derrick Henry, I mean, if you haven't known, he is a stud. Hopefully they are a better offense this time, and he can finally get it going. Receivers, I'm gonna like AJ Brown, Julio Jones again. It sucked, they burned me in week 1, but I'm like both of them here. Julio Jones might be low owned, and I'm gonna love him then. I think he's still gonna be a very good receiver, even with AJ Brown on his team. And also in the Ferguson could miss because he didn't practice Friday. And maybe that's gonna be more targets because the rest of the tight ends that they have on this team they block. So I'm gonna favor AJ Brown and Julio Jones. I would like Brown more, but all these guys I'm gonna have a lot of probably with Tannehill stacks. And then again, tight ends, Swam, Pruitt, they do not play pretty much any offense. They basically are out there to block. So 9 routes, 3 routes respectively for them. Not going to like them as tight end options. And then on to the Seahawks. They're going to be at home. So Chris Carson looks like to be one of the best running backs on the slate. And I cannot blame you. 6,100, not a lot of pass game work, but gets goal line work. And he is pretty efficient. So with Russell Wilson, this is an efficient offense. I do like Chris Carson, very affordable, just too cheap. And the receivers, I like DK Metcalf over Tyler Lockett because this isn't the Colts. This is not a zone-heavy, weak, or stronger defensive team rather compared to the Titans, which are pretty weak. So I'm gonna like Metcalf because the prices are closer, and also Lockett had the big game in week 1, and Metcalf just to me has a lot higher of an upside. Now onto tight end. So Gerald Everett is someone that I do have interest in this year, but Will Dissly did play 70% compared to Everett, who also played about 70%. So the routes ran 16 to 17 in favor of Dissly. So a little concerned on that end, but they are both cheap. So definitely, if you're trying to stack with Russell Wilson, throw one of them in there and just hope that they get volume or get a touchdown. So long video, I know, but how to go game here. Defense though, I pretty much do not really matter. Doesn't matter much to me because I just play a value guy. I'll try to fade the chalk defenses though. I'll try to go with home favorites, but usually DK will price those up. But I like to target guys that are teams that are gonna be going up against the QB that's going to take a lot of sacks, meaning that they probably going to be dogs, meaning they throw more sack opportunities, turnover prone, weak O lines, strong D lines. You just want opportunities to rack up sacks and interceptions. Now, favorite plays, so running back, I talked about Chubb. Obviously, play some of these guys on the studs, but I'm going to like Chubb a lot. And all these guys in the 6Ks, they look like a very appealing option. So if you're trying to play tournaments, go for one of those studs and play more value at the receivers. Like, I love Harris, I love Zeke, Montgomery, Carson, all of these guys, and then TV, of course. Now, with the receivers, Hopkins, stud, all these guys are studs, but I would say in favor of Jefferson the most, and then Metcalf, Keenan, obviously Cooper, Lamb, Evans, Julio, and then tight end, yeah, Waller, Kittle, Pitts, all great. Too easy, really, just play all of them. Font, Higby for value, it's going to be Komet, Everett, Jarman, Schultz, and Disley. And then Croft if you're trying to go below 3K. So that's going to be the breakdown. I know it's a long video, but how to get everything in for this one. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions on the video, feel free to ask me in the comments below, or you can add me on Twitter, DM me at Ballfuls, link will be in the description below the video as well. So again, good luck on the slate, and I will see you in the next video.